thinks that way.
Darkness falls.
I don't know how I feel about Luis at this point. I think I'm starting to dislike him because how can he laugh at Kaz when she suggests the terrace and then he takes Demi to the terrace? Make that make sense? I don't like that because that's going to hurt my girl. But anyway, hey there, thanks for stopping by. It's Valerie. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe, click the like button and turn on the notification bell for when I upload new videos. In this episode, I'll be reviewing Love Island All Stars, Season 1, Episode 4. I'm going to ask again, what do the girls see in Chris? I don't see anything special about him. So the fact that Molly kissed him and is giggly, I don't get it. He is just playing game. He is just out here wanting to sort of land whoever falls in his path or whoever he thinks is the most popular girl in the villa. That's who he's going to go for. His pickup lines are very cheesy and corny, so I don't get it. Anyway, there starts to be a buzz around the villa because Anton meets Chris as he comes from the terrace and he asks him what happened, and Chris owns up that he did kiss Molly and things went great, and Molly runs to Hannah and Kaz and she's sort of explaining to them that she's kissed Chris and she doesn't know how to process that. She tells them how it came about, and it's like, why would someone pick you up with such a cheesy line? Because when she starts to talk about the 2-minute stare in the eyes, Kaz actually finishes it off, and you can see it's just a play. It's just a play. I don't think he's serious about her. And then she starts crying because she doesn't know how she feels. Oh, I don't want to seem as though I'm jumping from person to person to person. And it's like, well, Chris found you at your most vulnerable time. You were arguing with your ex and he jumped in and he kissed you and it was too late and now you're stuck with it. And all the guys are now buzzing in the villa because they all know that this is why Chris took her to the terrace. And Anton has confirmed it. And you have poor Callum sitting there and speaking to Lois and just saying, I feel some type of way about the fact that Molly is telling people that I broke up with her because I wanted to focus on my career and that was not it. So it's making me feel some type of way. It makes me feel like a jerk, really, and like I was a negative person. It's like, yeah, you have the right to be upset if you feel like she's making things up. But then at the same time, I feel some type of way about their relationship as a whole. I feel like they're two people who still really like each other and still have an emotional connection, a sexual connection, and whatever else it is. And so I don't know whether they're there just to be on TV and they're going to play it out or what's happening. So then Chris joins the boys, Toby, Mitch, and Lois, and Anton. And it's sort of, they're asking him what happened on the terrace because Anton has told everybody. And eventually, everybody, all the guys now know that Chris and Molly kissed up on the terrace. You have Toby sort of feeling some type of way because he doesn't like the idea that Callum is moving around the villa and has no idea that this has taken place. And Molly starts crying and Chris is feeling bad that she's crying, and it's like, well, didn't you think about it before you approached her at a vulnerable time and asked her to go to the terrace? Everybody knows that when you go to the terrace, people are going to make out, so she must have suspected it. And for you to jump in and say, I want to kiss and I'm going to kiss you again and you're never going to know when I'm going to kiss you because I'm just going to do it randomly. And it's like, this is a whole big mess and I can't wait for things to fall apart. Messy Mitch is going to be Messy Mitch. The audacity. He's told Toby that his number one is Demi, and yet he has a chat with Liberty and he tells her, oh, you're my number one, I really like you, this, that, and the other. And yet in his confessional, he's saying that Demi is my number one. Messy Mitch is going to be Messy Mitch. Mitch, I said it before, he's going to be looking at the girls and seeing who will get him more capital. And if it's going to be Demi, that's who he's going to stick to. If it's going to be Liberty, that's who he's going to stick to. He's only after what is in Mitch's best interest. I don't think he's bothered who he couples up with. I think as long as it's not Kaz, he's happy. So, oh, poor Liberty. And then you have Liberty speaking to Kaz and saying, oh, tomorrow I'm going to dress all sexy and I'm going to do this and that. And it's just like, why? You're fighting for someone you shouldn't be. If I were you, I'd be waiting for the new guy and hoping that he really likes you, since you don't have a connection with any of the other guys in the villa. Otherwise, Mitch is just playing with you and it's just dragging you along. The only way Mitch is going to stick with you, Liberty, sadly, is if someone else is able to pull Demi away from him. Otherwise, if Demi agrees to stay with him, then you are going to be stuck and you're going to be left with no one. And no matter how sexy and no matter what you do, nothing is going to make any difference. And then you have Toby sort of having a conversation with Luis in the bedroom saying, I feel some type of way about, Callum not knowing about what's happened with Molly, and I feel he needs to know. And then Callum immediately walks in, and poor thing, he folds under the pressure. Poor Toby folds, and he tells him, this is what's happened. Chris has kissed Molly. They went up on the terrace, and this is what the rumor in the villa is. And I think it's one of two things. It's either Callum is completely over Molly, or he's too upset with Molly saying that he broke up with her to focus on his career, that he's not affected. But I think he's affected because even when they go to bed, he goes into bed, turns to his side, and he doesn't speak to Molly when she enters bed, even though he said he would speak to her, unless he waited until the lights were out and everybody had gone to bed. Molly, I think, is starting to have buyer's remorse. I think she's starting to realize that Chris is not it, and she made a big mistake. So all the islanders go to sleep, and in the morning they have another debrief, and it's just like, why do we have debriefs? Why can't we have 1 or 2 a week, or 1 or 2 after every recoupling or so? Because it's just the same thing. More or less, there were 2 main topics that were discussed: the fact that Molly and Chris kissed and how Callum felt about that, and the fact that Kaz is in this 3-way with Demi and Luis. And for me, I don't get it, because Kaz is right to say she has expressed herself that she really likes Luis, and she's waiting for Luis to make up his mind. Demi is on cloud 9 because it seems Luis has told her that you are my it and that's where I'm sticking. And Luis is telling everybody else that he's open to getting to know both girls. And it's like, that's not fair. It seems like everybody's keeping a spare just in case their main option doesn't pan out. Then they can go back to their plan B, which I don't think is fair. I like the fact that the guys are really telling Callum that you need to sort of make up your mind. Are you still interested in Molly? If so, make the effort to make that relationship work. If not, then move on and sort of, try and look for somebody else. And I think this is it. I think Callum himself is sort of being a bit, he doesn't want to come across as too eager, because I think he feels like if he comes across as too eager to make things work with Molly, then it's going to seem like they just broke up for the show. And so I don't know whether he's going to explore connections with other girls, see how it goes, and then probably come back to Molly, or whether he's done with Molly, he's moved on and is ready to try with somebody else. So I can't wait. We'll see what happens with the 2 of them, but it's a bit messy. I don't know. I love the fact that Callum was able to pull sort of Hannah aside and ask her for advice in regards, he is interested in Hannah H and wants to know how he can go about it to sort of make sure that he cements or he makes his intentions known to her. So the fact that she was able to encourage him to sort of try acts of service and see if that works. So try and be more attentive and see if, she is willing to sort of get to know him, or she's willing to continue to explore a connection with him. And if she does, then they take it from there. If she's not, then he can try and sort of move on to somebody else. So I like the fact that he immediately went over to Hannah H and sat down with her and tried to sort of have conversations to see where he stands, whether she's open to getting to know him or whether she's not. And so that was cute to see. I really wish the best for them, and I hope their connection works, because it seems the 2 of them, or it seems Anton has realized that Georgia S is not interested in him and he's making moves on the next person. So hopefully that exploration works for them. You then have Callum pull Molly for a chat, which I think was good because I think it was due. I love that they gave each other time to sort of develop and sort of settle into the villa before they had this conversation. So at least they're in a very good mind space. And yes, they address the issue of how they broke up and how they both have different perspectives of why they broke up. And I think it's something they needed to do. So hopefully they can reach an understanding and they can reach a compromise and sort of find a way forward. You then had, Molly, I think, has gone off Chris. I think she's realized that Chris was just after conquering her and moving on to the next one, because he walked around with Anton and you could see she was telling Callum that I hope he doesn't come for me. I hope he doesn't pull me for a chat. I hope he doesn't pull me for a chat. And I said this yesterday. I'll say it again. Chris, you can only take him in small doses. I think a long-term exposure to him can become too much because he's very corny and he's very crass at times. So I get where Molly's coming from, and I don't know. We'll see. Hannah's excitement at getting a message is like, oh my God. It's as though she's never received a text message before. I got a text. And oh, I can't wait. Maybe it's the new Bombshell, Josh. So it seems, Josh has picked the two Georges and Hannah to go on a date. The guys are ecstatic for, Hannah because they feel this is something that she deserves. She hasn't really found her person. So the fact that someone has invited her for a date is okay, is amazing. Toby seems cool until the girls start walking off, and then you can see that he's nervous. He's nervous because he's thinking, oh my God, what if she really likes the person who's called her for a date? But he's going to play it off. He's going to pretend as though nothing is happening, but I think he is nervous. I think Toby's nervous, and it'll be interesting to see his reaction when she comes back from the date, especially if she says she really likes the guy she went on a date with. I can't wait to see what happens there. And Hannah's just ecstatic. All the girls are excited, and so the guys are questioning whether it's one boy or two guys that are actually going on this date. So I can't wait. I can't wait to see the outcome. I hate it when I'm proved right, but I remember saying Georgia is already wifed herself off to Toby, and if she had her way, she would have Toby wife himself to her, and that's it, because she's the first one to go on a date with Josh, and she tells him upfront that, I am in a couple with Toby and it would take quite a lot for me to swerve my head, but at the moment I don't think so. I've always gone for all the guys, but I'm so happy with Toby, and that's it. And he's saying I like a challenge, and I'm like, oh God, don't worry, you'll be joining the bitter club that Anton is in at the moment, because I doubt you'll be able to get her head to turn. Next up is Hannah. It seems they know each other with Hannah from season 1, and she's ecstatic that he's chosen her. They have great banter, but I don't think there's anything romantic there. I think they're just going to be great friends. It's sad that the producers are not bringing anyone for Hannah, and the fact that he has Josh, oh my God, the audacity to ask her about her bum, that you have your bum done, and it's like, some things you just need to keep to yourself, some opinions or some information you need to keep to yourself. There's no need for you to be asking her that, but hey, it is what it is. Why does it seem like the producers are the ones that have forced this man to go and have a chat with Callum? For Chris to sit down with Callum and then say, oh, I haven't respected bro code, I haven't done this. And it's like, and now you've decided this is the time for you to tell him that you kissed his ex. Make it make sense. I think he's just there for the game. I think he's there for the celebrity and what comes with being on the show. I don't think Chris is there to look for a relationship. I'm sorry, because of the way he's carried himself and the way he's been behaving is why I say that. He is not serious. Even you have Hannah sort of moaning that I don't know whether he's serious, because one moment he's joking, the next moment he's sort of sitting down with me and he's trying to be serious and flirty. So I don't get which is it. Is he really interested in a relationship with me, or is he just doing this just for the fun of it? And for me, it comes across as that's the case. And then you have Georgia HB, Josh's last date. Apparently, they know each other. They went on a date, or they had a conversation and were planning on dating, and then Josh was a jerk. So it's like, if you were a jerk to all these girls, why then are you choosing to go on dates with them? Why are you choosing them to be the ones that you date? Because it seems he has a bad history with Georgia S&H, and so I don't know why he's decided to choose them for his date instead of maybe going for Liberty or Kaz or somebody else, or maybe he just doesn't feel anybody else in the villa and he wanted to sort of iron out whatever issues he had with the girls before he walked in. I don't know. It's going to be very challenging. I think they're not putting people that are attracted to one another. I think they're putting people that they know will bring the drama and the toxicity, because everybody that they've matched at the moment doesn't seem to like one another outside of Toby and Georgia. Everybody else is just there for TV. That's my opinion. So So Josh and the girls come back from their date. The guys are excited to see Josh. Some of the girls are excited to see him, I think, because they've seen him on TV. And there's this conversation with Hannah saying, during their season, it's nice to see someone familiar, but during their season, he was more or less her little brother, but now he's matured. So he's now 29. And so she's happy to see that. Georgia said, she's with Toby and he'll need to do a lot of grafting. That's what she told him. Georgia H said they've got a history. It seems they've dated on and off. Maybe they're situationships. That's what it sounds like. And he tells the guys that, one of the girls said, she wasn't open. And everybody immediately looks at Toby because they already know it's Georgia S who has said that she's closed off, because obviously we all know she's all in on Toby, and that's it. So I don't know how that's going to play out in regards her exploring a connection with any of the guys, even though she told the girls that she's open to that. And in the bedroom, you have Josh trying to convince Toby that, he shouldn't be closed off, because Toby has been very well behaved. He's been all in on Georgia, even though he hasn't sort of said it out loud for anyone. But I hope he doesn't buy into whatever Josh is trying to sell him, because it could be the boys are trying to get him in trouble so that Georgia S sort of turns away from him. Everybody gets ready for the night, and then you have Liberty sort of telling the girls that, she's all in on Mitch. She's really interested in Mitch. I think she's trying to mark her territory. I think she's realized that he's interested in Demi, and so she's trying to get the girls to go to Demi and say, Demi, you need to take a step back. And it's like, no, that's not the situation. If he likes you, he's going to pick you. There's no need for you to mark your territory or claim someone to be yours. This is what you did on Love Island Games. I'll continue to bring that up. Anyway, once they've had their drinks, you have Liberty and Kaz having a conversation with Josh and sort of talking about the guys in the villa and how the guys have been sort of laid back in sort of trying to explore connections with the girls. And it's like, I don't know. I think everybody is scared. No one wants to be pied, given that this is their second time round. So they would rather just sit back and just wait for someone to pick them. Sadly, the only person who has someone who's picked him is Toby. Everybody else is just on the same, playing field. And I don't know how that's going to play out eventually when it's time to recouple. It's getting messy, and I feel sorry for my girl Kaz, because I really like Kaz, and sadly it seems she's put all her eggs in Luis's basket, and Luis doesn't seem interested, because she has a conversation with him about the fact that, she asks him, are we going to go to the terrace? And he sort of laughs it off, and she has to ask him, why are you laughing? And it's like, just tell her you're not interested. Stop keeping her in your back pocket. I think the only reason he's keeping her is because he knows that he's in competition with Mitch for Demi. So if Mitch then picks Demi, then he can go for Kaz and he won't seem like a jerk because he's been talking to her. That's the impression that I get. You have Mitch going all messy Mitch on Demi, telling her you're it for me, you're my number one, I'm not exploring with anybody else, every time I talk to you. And it's like, this is his playbook. He uses the same playbook on everyone, and then he ends off with, don't tell anybody else. And it's like, Mitch, this is on TV, what do you expect? People are going to watch it. When she leaves the villa, she's going to see it. Movie night, if there's a movie night, everyone is going to see it. Why would you run it back? But then that's who he is. Liberty is having a chat with Hannah. She's sort of saying, I don't know. I think Mitch is leaning towards Demi, and I don't know. I think Liberty is trying to get people on her side so that people can sort of coax Mitch into choosing her. That's the impression that I get. And I don't know whether this is a good idea for her to couple up with Mitch. But I don't want to get hurt. Well, if you don't want to get hurt, maybe Mitch is not it for you, man. Maybe you need to explore somebody else. That's just my impression. I might be wrong, but that's what I think. And then you have Luis and Demi go up to the terrace. It's so messy and so catty. The fact that he was telling Kaz that he can't, take her to the terrace. He will take her at some point. And then for him in the same night to go to the terrace and make out with somebody else. That's just messy. That even surpasses messy Mitch. That takes the cake. And it's sad. And I feel sorry for my girl. And I hope they bring another bombshell, someone she will like and someone she'll be able to explore a connection with, because this man is not it for her. That's just my opinion. So Liberty has been told by Hannah that you need to put Mitch on the spot and tell him to let you know whether you're his one or not. If you're not, he needs to let you know so that you can move on. And immediately, as soon as Demi steps away, she then goes and she goes after Mitch, and it's like, why are you so desperate? Why? I don't know. One thing about Mitch is he's always going to live up to his name. He's always going to be messy Mitch. So as soon as he saw that Lois was on the terrace, he told Liberty, oh, I think they kissed. I'm going to run and check. And he ran and he asked Lois, and Lois confirmed. And it's like, I thought you said Liberty was your number one. Why would you leave her for somebody else? And something that is just a conversation that could wait until later. It's not priority that you find out whether or not they kissed. So I like the fact that though he was forthcoming, because you could tell that Kaz was suspecting that something had happened, and she actually told Liberty that I think Demi kissed Lois because she had no lipstick when she came into the bedroom, and then they receive a text message to say that they need to gather around the fire pit. And once it's decided that the girls are going to pick who they want to couple up with, Mitch immediately tells Kaz, Lois kissed Demi. And it's like, why would you say that? Why would you tell her? Are you being a protective friend, or are you just giving her a heads up so that she doesn't make a mess and pick someone who's not really for her? I think there is a positive and a negative to it. I think I like the fact that he looked out for Kaz even though he's not in a couple with her. But then it's also heartbreaking for her to find out in such a scenario, because now she's scrambling. She doesn't know who to pick. And I have a feeling she's going to end up with Chris, because I don't think anyone will want Chris. But that's just my opinion. Anyway, it was a great episode. So we're waiting for recoupling, and apparently Josh is the first one to pick. So we'll find out tonight. Anyway, thanks guys for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And click the link in my video to watch my review from episode 3. Bye guys.